institutions and to each other, and to remind us of our shared values. The memories and friendships that we make here are for many the bonds that keep people connected for a lifetime. So let's start with a little bit of history. Harvard was founded in 1636, and it's now 388 years old. But this is only the 374th commencement, so why this disparity? Well, Harvard's first commencement took place in 1642, years after its founding in 1636. It was a modest affair consisting of only 9 graduates, and in the next few years, there weren't enough qualified students and no commencements. During the American Revolution, Harvard was used as an encampment for George Washington and his troops, and the college was moved from Cambridge to Concord, 17 miles west.
Concord, by the way, was founded 1 year earlier, 1635. So that's one thing Concord has on
And you
on
know
Harvard.
that because?
I know that probably because
you live there.
Yeah, I was going to
yes,
say,
because you live there.
Because you told me, as
right.
you told me everything else, Jackie.
Right. In the 1700s, a smallpox epidemic and then later a plague forced the college to close, as did the 7 Years' War, also known as the French and Indian War, both conducted on American soil. And all of these events taken together made such celebrations seem inappropriate. World War II also disrupted traditional commencements. And then, of course, came COVID, where Harvard was forced to cancel commencement twice. So, as the poet Robert Burns once wrote, the best laid schemes of mice and men gang after glay, meaning often go awry. Do we know this? We know this.
We know this.
Right.
I
We do
did not know
this.
Gang After Clay. It sounds like a band. But in any case, I'm impressed that you said it. But you fast forward to today, and we have about 9,000 candidates standing for degrees. You can hear them all right across the yard right now, probably in the background as we speak. And the university as a whole is, of course, so much bigger. There are 25,000 students in all across all of the schools, the graduate schools, the college, and so on. And as a faculty, it's about 2,500 faculty teaching at Harvard across the schools. And then there are our alumni, many, I'm sure, who are watching this broadcast, and greetings to you, alumni. There are 400,000 of you spread around the globe, a remarkable figure. And then to top all of that, as if that was not enough, there are 35 million online learners who study through Harvard. So it's quite remarkable, this crowd, and it's a far cry from where we were in 1642 with just 9 graduates. So we want to just transition now. We're going to bring in a guest. I'm going to slide a little to the left here. And I think I'm still in the picture.
Look
I
who's
am. We are really delighted if we can get her in the camera shot. There she is,
Okay,
Josie.
slide.
Hi.
Josie
Hi.
Hesbo, welcome. We're so glad you're here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Josie. Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Are you excited?
Very excited. What a wonderful day. It's been a ride the last couple of days. But
Yeah.
This is really special.
We're thrilled to hear. So, folks, Josie Hesbo is a economics and psychology concentrator here at Harvard University. She's a resident of Dunster House. Is that right?
Yeah,
Is
that's
Dunster House the best
right.
house? Or,
That is
yeah. I've actually heard that Lowell House is the best house.
Oh, no. Not now.
Where that from?
That's where it couldn't have been a credible source. But in addition to being a scholar, Josie is also the captain of the women's soccer team and was the first woman from the Harvard women's soccer team to play on her World Cup team, the FIFA World Cup, in 2023. Is that right?
That's right.
Representing her country, Denmark. Josie, I can't imagine how you did all this. And we want to just begin before we start peppering you with questions by saying how really happy we are not only to have you here, but for you. This is a big moment in your life.
Yes.
How's it feel?
Incredible. I
Yeah.
think it's really hard to put into words right now, just because you're processing.
Of course.
I think I'll even realize how much I've learned from this experience
Yeah.
post-Harvard.
Yeah.
But I feel really, really honored and just so grateful.
Yeah.
Do you have family here today?
Yes, my parents are in town, which is incredible and just so nice to share these beautiful experience with them.
Yeah. Well, I want to ask you about your family because there's a story that I read about you which is really interesting. You know, some people are lucky, like you, to find their passion early on in life. And so the story that I read was that you convinced your parents to allow you to ride on a bus for an hour and a half each way so that you could join the only girls soccer team that was available an hour and a half away. And you made a promise to them that if they let you do it, that you would study hard on the bus. Well, obviously you fulfilled that part of the promise, but fill in the details there. How many years did you do that, and how old were you when you got on your first bus ride?
So yeah, it's right. So I was 12 when I started playing football when I was 7 in my local team, and then when I was 12, I one day get into my parents in the kitchen, and they sit there, and at that point, it felt that I had to take another push in order to progress my development.
Right.
So taking this bus 90 minutes away was the necessary, let's say, step in order to achieve that. So I said to my parents if that would be possible, and they were quite hesitant in the beginning. But then I said, "Are you going to prevent me from making the national team?" I really had to dig deep, but
You knew that at that age.
You
that
had
you
your
had a
sights
shot.
set.
so that's at least how the story goes. And ultimately, I've been so fortunate to have their support by my side. But it started out that, Josie, you can get a season, and then when the winter hit, you don't want to take the bus back and forth in the dark. But I played there for 5 years, and
Wow.
it was such an important milestone in my little career, so to say, at that point.
Yeah. Josie, are you recruited to the team? I mean, at that age, how did this opportunity become available to you?
So it was two of my friends who was planning to go there because they knew that this team were selecting these girls to become part of the youth national team. And I think it's really important when you realize, and as you said, Jackie, I've been so fortunate to find my passion very early on. And it's natural then to keep wanting more.
Yes.
And this next step, it was really uncomfortable, right? Because you come into a new environment, and it's hard with change. And that was the same when I came here to Harvard the first year. But you also realize how much growth that you can gain from that.
Right. So what did bring you here to Harvard?
So my Khalees, my assistant head coach, brought me here. I got recruited when I was 15 in Dallas.
Wow.
15.
So with that club that I traveled to 90 minutes, they had this friendly tournament in Dallas, and we went there. I remember my mom, it was a quite expensive trip, so she was like, "Okay, Josie, let's call it an investment," in a little bit of a fun. And rightly enough, so I got back and then woke up jet lagged 2 days afterwards, looked at my email, and then I got this one only email from Mike, the head coach, head assistant coach of Harvard Women's Soccer.
And there you have it.
Wow, what a story. So I think I have a question about just sort of how you balanced everything. I mean, you're a double concentrator. You're in very serious academic disciplines. You are also on the field every day for hours every day, and I'm sure it also occupies your mind even when you're not there. So how do you do that? What are the challenges of being a scholar athlete? You know, it's funny, scholar athlete is a term that I think some people might be cynical about over the years as sports has changed and become more professional on the college level. But here, we do have scholar athletes, and you're one of them.
I'm not the only one.
I believe it. So how do you balance that?
I think there's a practical side to it. I maybe should dedicate a thank you to Google Task, my notes on my phone. And ultimately, there's a huge kind of anticipation in terms of my planning and my schedule in order to balance the national team commitment too and travel back and forth. But you can't do everything by yourself, right? It's very much about asking for help. And I've been so fortunate to get that support from my coaching staff, both in Denmark and here at Harvard, and my parents. So that's ultimately an integral ingredient of it. But I also think that it's possible to keep up this energy when you feel grateful.
And you're also the captain of the team, so that comes with a layer of responsibility. Tell us about that. What does it mean to be the captain of a team?
It's such an honor, but I'm not doing it by myself again.
Yes.
I have two wonderful co-captains, Jade and Sydney, and it's been such a fun challenge to lead the team, and especially in adversity.
Yeah.
In tough times where we've last season especially had so many injuries, and trying to keep finding the joy and keep finding the belief that we can do it. We can still do it. We can still show up this next weekend, and we got this.
Yeah.
Because we're together.
Right.
I think that is it's really cool to be now here in a position to be able to bring these feelings out on a team.
Yes.
But I also want to say that's not how it was when I got here at Harvard.
Yes.
It's definitely been a transition, and I've grown so much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about the World Cup? You have to tell us about that.
Yeah. What's it like to play on the FIFA World Cup stage?
Yeah. Wow.
It's still mind blown. I feel like it's 2 years ago by now, but being able to step in on the field, there's 78,000 people in the stands. You're there representing your country. That's the biggest milestone ultimately in my career. And just hopefully a glimpse of hopefully what's to come.
Yes.
But I mean, ultimately such a big honor and something that is a result of many, many years of work.
Right. And what is yet to come?
Professional soccer.
Yeah.
That's part of it. And then I really hope to pursue my passion for entrepreneurship and soccer in combination with those, because as you know, sports is so powerful, and I really believe and hope that soccer can be used to create even more beautiful opportunities for kids to learn these life skills of teamwork, resilience, discipline, that you gain through sports, and what I've gained through being part of Harvard athletics.
Josie, I have to say, Jackie and I have had the privilege of working at Harvard University for quite a number of years. If you ever wonder whether it's fun to work with students like this, who are so aspirational,
it's wonderful,
and who are such good people at heart. I feel like you kind of embody the values that we hope, you know, in terms of goodwill, hard effort, setting goals, and trying to treat people well as well, which I know as a captain of the team is part of it. As a leader, you have to think about, I would imagine, the atmosphere you create for people to grow.
We are going to follow your career with great interest, and we wish you all the best, Josie. You're a fabulous young woman.
Congratulations, Josie.
I appreciate that so much.
Okay, have a great day today.
Good luck.